Welcome to repairing a 2-inch scale Fowler traction engine part 9, the first live steam test, which showed up a few problems with the water feed to the boiler. You may be wondering why I've opened this video with a large piece of wood. I'm chopping it up using my bandsaw and I have a job for it later on in the video, so please keep watching. When I bought my new compressor it was bolted to a pallet, and this is some of the wood that made up the pallet. I didn't throw it away, I kept it for jobs like this. And just in case you're wondering, no, I am not going to use this as fuel for the live steam test. Now that the sawing is finished, it's over to the workbench. Before I put any heat into the boiler, I'm going to test that things work. This is the water lifter, and I'm going to use this to lift the water out of the plastic bottle and deposit it in the bunker tank. I've fitted the rubber pipe, and all I have to do now is just turn on the air supply. And through some sort of witchcraft, by turning on the air supply, the water is sucked out of the bottle into the bunker tank. In the olden days, before they were taxed out of existence, traction engines would use a water lifter system like this to fill their tanks from any available water source, such as a horse trough or a stream or even maybe a river if they could get close enough. I've drawn some felt tip pen lines on the bottle so you can see that the water is definitely diminishing. All I need to do now is wait until water comes out of the filler. You can actually fill these tanks manually, but it's much easier using a water lifter. As it says in the title, this is a live steam test, but not at the moment. I'm still on compressed air just to make sure all of the subsystems work. Once I'd filled the bunker tank, I started to use the hand pump to pump the water from the bunker tank into the boiler. Then I thought it would be a good idea to let the engine pump its own water into the boiler using the crankshaft driven pump. The owner of this engine mentioned to me that the hand pump leaked slightly, so I fixed that. I put some O-rings in it. He also mentioned that the crankshaft driven pump also leaked, and he wasn't joking. This leaking is excessive. I applied a bit of steam oil, but it made very little difference. The water ran everywhere. The leak is even worse now because this pump and the hand pump share a common feed to the boiler. And originally both of the pumps didn't work properly, but now the hand pump seals perfectly with the O-rings that you saw me fit to the piston in a previous episode. At this stage I thought it was a good idea to try the hand pump, but there is something wrong. Neither of these pumps are filling the boiler successfully. The water's going somewhere, but most of it is running onto the bench and then onto the floor. I thought it would be a good idea to test the pressure output of the hand pump, and it's not good. And even when I run the engine at a high speed, the crankshaft driven pump isn't pumping much water into the boiler. This is taking forever. Because both of these pumps share a common outlet, which in turn goes to the check valve on the boiler, as well as the bad leak on the crankshaft driven pump. The water that it's pumping is being pumped via the hand pump back to the tank, which means that the ball that I fitted to the bottom fitting isn't sealing. This is not a massive problem. All I did was remove the hand pump and fit a brand new unused stainless steel ball to the water inlet, and once I did that, everything was fine. By putting my finger over the end of the outlet, as you can see, there's plenty of pressure now. The water squirts out. The next thing to look at that I'm not happy with is the water gauge. Really, I think this needs replacing. The O-rings in it are not the correct size and the glass is cracked, so I cut a new piece of glass and fitted it, and this time I used some larger silicone O-rings to seal it. The threads on the fittings look a bit wonky. That's because they've been over-tightened. Now that the hand pump is not blowing water back into the tank, both of the pumps will pump water into the boiler against pressure. With the help of my small air compressor, the boiler is pumped up to about 40 pounds per square inch. Both of the pumps are working. Here's a shot of the hand pump, and you can see as I move the pump from side to side, the water is going up in the glass. This is what I need to see. The rattling you can hear is just the ball dancing about on the inlet. Now it's fun time, and you can see why I needed a piece of wood. I've very crudely fitted this gas burner to the piece of wood using some long panel pins. The reason for this is so that it's in the correct position and at the right height to be up inside the firebox. I've connected a gas tank to the gas burner, and with the help of my Proxxon blowtorch I light the burner. It's very important though to start the burner on low. You don't want to introduce a sudden high heat into the firebox because you're likely to distort the firebox plates. After a while it looks like there's some steam coming out of the chimney, but no, that's just condensation. The water level in the gauge is rising and falling, which means that water's starting to boil in there. The pressure gauge is not showing any pressure, but when I open the regulator and the drain cocks, as you can see, the engine bursts into life. And I'm also pleased to see that both of the drain cocks are working. These drain cocks should have 2 long pipes attached to them. I'm told by the owner that he has them in a box at home. Steam engines generally run a lot better on steam than they do on compressed air, and this is very encouraging. The motion is almost silent, without any trace of the knocking and banging and sideways movement that was present when I first got the machine to repair. Even though the crankshaft driven pump is leaking badly, it's still filling the boiler. So I think I will open the bypass valve to stop this from happening. According to the pressure gauge, there is 40 pounds per square inch of steam pressure in the boiler. It's time to test the injector. I was told by the owner that the injector never worked. I've replaced the tap, so I know that's okay, and I'm trying the existing injector, which is not working well at all. Once it blows steam out, the only way you can stop this is by closing the steam valve. However, this may not be the injector's fault. It could be a problem in the pipe from the injector to the check valve, or even the check valve. But this injector doesn't feel good. What I'm going to do is change it for another one that I have. Even though it's an old one, I think it works. The engine's running very well at the moment. Here's a bit of slow motion, and you can see the engine rocks back and forth just like a full-size one. This is due to the reciprocating motion of the parts. And although I really hate doing it, I changed the injector when it was very, very hot and burnt my fingers a few times. When I opened the water and steam valve with the replacement injector fitted, it was still reluctant to pick up, although with this injector it was trying. I think the problem lies elsewhere. I'll look into that. With this injector, even though the steam blew through the overflow, I could stop it by opening and shutting the water valve. And in the end, I got it to nearly work. It was dribbling badly, but it was still filling the boiler. At this stage, I engaged the water lifter to pump some more water into the bunker tank, because I think the water in there was getting warm. And these injectors will not work properly if the water supply is warm. I'm going to do a bit more work on the engine, and there will be another steam test. But to play this video out, here's the engine doing what it does best, running using steam, at quite a high speed. And that's it for this one. After I turned off the gas, I disconnected the valve from the tank. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.